Hi everyone, my name is Valery Saul and I am a conducting fellow here at the festival, and I am so excited to introduce our concert on Tuesday, July the 8th with the Calidore String Quartet. The Calidore String Quartet is recognized as one of the world's foremost interpreters of a vast chamber music repertory, from quartets by Beethoven and Mendelssohn to works of celebrated contemporary composers such as Caroline Shaw. For more than a decade, the Calidore String Quartet has enjoyed performances and residencies around the world with major venues and festivals, released multiple critically acclaimed recordings, and they have won numerous awards. The Los Angeles Times describes the musicians as astonishing. The New York Times noted that the quartet's deep reserves of virtuosity and irrepressible dramatic instinct. And the Washington Post wrote that 4 more individual musicians are unimaginable, yet these speak, breathe, think, and feel as one. Samuel Barber was born in 1910 and he died in 1981. He was an American composer, pianist, conductor, baritone, music educator, and one of the most celebrated American composers of the mid-20th century. Barber's music usually avoided the experimental trends of musical modernism in favor of more traditional 19th century harmonic language and formal structure, embracing lyricism and emotional expression. However, he adopted elements of modernism after 1940 in some of his compositions. His works became successful on the international stage, and many of his compositions enjoyed rapid adoption into the classical performance canon. In particular, his Adagio for strings, composed in 1936. He received the Pulitzer Prize for music twice, once for his opera Vanessa, and second for his concerto for piano and orchestra. Also widely performed is his Knoxville Summer of 1915. The String Quartet in B minor, Opus 11, was composed in 1935 and contains 3 movements. And if you know his famous Adagio for strings, the middle movement is the Adagio for strings, and it was later expanded to become the full string orchestra presentation that we know and love today. Wynton Marsalis was born in New Orleans in 1961, and he is an American trumpeter, composer, music educator, and he is currently the artistic director of jazz at Lincoln Center. Marsalis has won 9 Grammy Awards, and his oratorio Blood on the Fields was the first jazz composition to win a Pulitzer Prize for music. Marsalis is the only musician, believe it or not, to have won a Grammy in both the jazz and classical categories in the same year. So about At the Octoroon Balls, which was composed in 1995, the music is inspired by the composer's early life in New Orleans. Marsalis says this about his composition: "A ball is a ritual and it's a dance. Everybody is in their finest clothing. At the Octoroon Balls, there was an interesting cross-section of life. People from different stratums of society came together in pursuit of pleasure and fulfillment. The music brought people together." This quartet goes back to Marsalis's roots in New Orleans. You will hear a Creole fiddle tune, jazz, ragtime, funk. This work will be a treat for the ears and for the soul. American film composer John Williams was born in 1932, and his career spans over 7 decades. He has composed some of the world's best-known film scores in cinema history. He has a very distinct sound that mixes romanticism with impressionism, with atonal music, and very complex orchestration. He is best known for his collaborations with directors Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. He has received numerous accolades, including 26 Grammy Awards, 5 Academy Awards, 7 BAFTA Awards, 3 Emmy Awards, and 4 Golden Globe Awards. About With Malice Toward None, which was composed for the film Lincoln in 2012. One of the most moving scenes in the movie Lincoln is when Lincoln himself is delivering the second inaugural address. He says, "With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the light, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to do all which we may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations." This text sets the mood for the quartet. The music is both reflective, patriotic, tender, and speaks to the humanity that Lincoln evokes in his speech. Erich Wolfgang Korngold was an Austrian composer and conductor born in 1897, and he died in 1957. Korngold fled Europe in the mid-1930s and later landed in the United States, where he became a U.S. citizen. He became one of the most influential and important composers in Hollywood history. Korngold's third and last quartet, his quartet number 3 in D major, was written in 1945. And it was just a few years prior before he finished or retired from his film score career. It is expertly crafted chamber music in all 4 movements, designed with music that is entirely characteristic of Korngold's musical imagination. In this quartet, he repurposes music from at least 3 of his prior films. The lyrical middle section of the second movement scherzo comes from his film Between Two Worlds. The haunting slow movement is based on a love scene from The Sea Wolf, and the lively finale is based on the theme from his film Devotion.